You need to stop whatever you are doing right now, because if you are over the age of 65 and you hold a driving license in the United Kingdom, the next few minutes of your life could be the most important you spend this week. There is a deadline that has either already arrived or is closing in on you with every single second that passes, and thousands of drivers across Britain have absolutely no idea it is happening. We are talking about your freedom. We are talking about your independence. We are talking about your ability to get in your car, drive to the shops, visit your grandchildren, attend your medical appointments, and live your life the way you have always lived it. And all of that is now sitting on a knife edge because of rules that the DVLA has put in place, rules that are not new but are being enforced with a new level of seriousness, and rules that could see you handed a driving ban not because you did anything wrong, not because you had an accident, not because a police officer pulled you over, but simply because a piece of paper was not submitted on time. So stay with me, because every word of what I am about to tell you matters. When you reach the age of 70 in the United Kingdom, your driving license does not automatically continue. Most people know this in a vague, general sense, but what many people do not fully understand is the precision and the weight of the obligation that falls on them at that point. Your license expires at 70, and you are required by law to apply to renew it. The DVLA sends out a reminder, and that reminder tells you that you must apply to renew your license before it expires. If you miss that deadline, you are not simply in a grey area. You are not simply someone who forgot to do some administration. You are driving without a valid license, which is a criminal offence in this country, carrying with it the possibility of fines running into the thousands of pounds and a driving ban that can be handed down by a court. But here is where it gets more complicated and more alarming for a huge number of people who are watching this right now. After the age of 70, you do not renew your license once and then forget about it. The renewal must happen every single 3 years. So if you are 73, you need to have renewed. If you are 76, you need to have renewed. If you are 79, you need to have renewed. And every single time that 3-year period ends and a new application has not been submitted and approved, you are in the same position as someone who never had a license at all in the eyes of the law. The DVLA is not soft on this. The enforcement is real, and the consequences are real. Now, you might be thinking, surely the DVLA sends a reminder, surely there is some kind of system in place to catch people before they fall through the gap. And yes, technically the DVLA does send out reminder letters. But here is the reality that thousands of older drivers are experiencing right now. Letters get lost in the post. Letters arrive and get put on the kitchen counter and forgotten under a pile of other envelopes. People move house and the letter goes to an old address. People go into hospital for a few weeks and come home to find the deadline has passed. People are dealing with the illness of a spouse, the grief of bereavement, the chaos of everyday life, and a letter from the DVLA does not feel urgent until it suddenly, devastatingly, is. And the situation right now is that the DVLA has been pushing through a backlog, tightening up its processes, and making very clear that the responsibility for renewal sits entirely with the driver. There is no grace period in the legislation. There is no automatic extension. There is no sympathy clause for people who simply forgot. The law is the law, and if your license has expired, even by a single day, you are breaking it every time you sit behind a wheel. What does this mean in practice for someone over 65? If you are between 65 and 70 right now, you need to mark the date of your 70th birthday on your calendar not as a celebration, although it is that too, but as a hard administrative deadline. The application to renew your license should be submitted before that birthday arrives, not after, not on the day, before. The DVLA recommends applying around 90 days before your license is due to expire, giving them time to process your application and giving you time to chase it up if something goes wrong. If you are already over 70, you need to check your license right now. And I mean right now, today, not tomorrow, not this weekend, now. Pick up your license and look at the expiry date. It is printed on the front of the card. If that date has passed, you need to stop driving immediately and apply for a renewal as a matter of absolute urgency. If the date is coming up in the next few weeks or even the next few months, you need to begin the application process immediately. The process itself is straightforward, but it requires attention. You can apply online through the DVLA's official website, through gov.uk, and the process requires you to confirm some medical information. This is the part where many older drivers stumble, not because they are dishonest, but because the medical questions feel intimidating or confusing, or because they are not sure whether a condition they have or a medication they take affects their eligibility to drive. Let me be absolutely clear on this point. The DVLA has a legal and medical framework for assessing fitness to drive, and that framework is designed to keep everyone safe, including you. If you have a medical condition that affects your driving, you may still be able to drive, but you need to disclose it. Failing to disclose a relevant medical condition when renewing your license is a criminal offense in itself. Common conditions that need to be declared include epilepsy, diabetes that is managed with insulin or certain other medications, significant vision problems, certain heart conditions, neurological conditions including Parkinson's disease and dementia, and conditions that affect your physical ability to control a vehicle. If you have any doubt whatsoever about whether something you are living with needs to be declared, the right answer is to declare it and let the DVLA make the determination. You can also speak to your GP, who can help you understand what your obligations are. There is also the question of eyesight, which is something every driver over 65 should be thinking about with great seriousness. The legal standard for driving in the UK requires you to be able to read a number plate from 20 meters away in good daylight with your glasses or contact lenses on if you use them. This is a basic standard, but it is one that deteriorates naturally with age, and it is one that many people have not tested themselves against in years. If you cannot meet that standard, you must not be driving, and when you submit a renewal application, you are confirming that you meet it. Get your eyes tested. Do it now. Do it before you renew. Do it before you next get behind the wheel if you have any doubt. The financial consequences of ignoring all of this are severe. Driving without a valid license in the UK can result in a fine of up to £1,000. Driving without a license and without valid insurance, which is what happens automatically when your license lapses because most insurance policies require a valid license, can result in a fine of up to £300, 6 points on your license, and if the case goes to court, an unlimited fine and a disqualification from driving. You can also have your vehicle seized. These are not theoretical outcomes for extreme cases. These are outcomes that real people, older drivers who simply did not realize their license had expired, have faced in courts across the country. Beyond the legal and financial consequences, there is the practical devastation of losing your license unexpectedly. For many older people, particularly those who live in rural areas or who do not have family nearby, the car is not a luxury, it is a lifeline. It is how they get to the doctor. It is how they get to the pharmacy. It is how they buy food. It is how they maintain their independence and their sense of self. The loss of a license does not just mean an inconvenience. For some people, it means losing the ability to live independently entirely. That is the real stakes of what we are talking about today. So I want you to do something very specific after you finish watching this. I want you to find your driving license. Look at the expiry date. If you are over 70 and that date has already passed, stop driving right now and go to gov.uk to begin your renewal application today. If that date is within the next 3 months, begin your application immediately. Do not wait until next week. Do not wait until after the weekend. Do this today. If you are approaching 70, set a reminder in your phone or on your calendar for 3 months before your 70th birthday to begin the process. And if you have a parent, a grandparent, a neighbor, a friend, anyone over the age of 65 in your life, please share this information with them. Pick up the phone. Send them a message. Tell them what you have just heard. Because it is entirely possible that the person you are thinking of right now has no idea this situation exists, and a conversation you have today could save them from a driving ban, a fine, a criminal record, and the loss of their independence. The DVLA is not the enemy here. The rules exist because keeping our roads safe matters, and assessing whether drivers are medically and legally fit to drive is a reasonable thing for the state to do. But those rules only work fairly if people know about them, and the honest truth is that the system of sending out paper letters to people who may be elderly, isolated, or unwell is not catching everyone who needs to be caught. That is why conversations like this one matter. That is why sharing this information with the people in your life matters. You have the information now. You know what the deadline is. You know what the consequences are. You know what you need to do. The only question left is whether you are going to act on it today or whether you are going to put it off and risk everything. Please do not put it off. Your independence, your freedom, and your peace of mind are worth 10 minutes of your time right now. If this video helped you or someone you love, please subscribe to my channel so you never miss information like this. Every week I bring you the latest updates on laws, regulations, and changes that affect real people's real lives. The kind of information that does not always make the headlines, but that can make an enormous difference when it reaches the right person at the right time. Hit the subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and become part of a community that stays informed, stays prepared, and looks out for one another. Subscribe to my channel because the next video might be the one that saves you from something just like this.